The ultimatum from the stars. The year 2387 marked humanity's greatest achievement in space exploration. From the bustling colonies of New Terra in the Alpha Centauri system to the mining operations in the distant Kepler systems, human civilization had spread across 73 star systems. Commander Elena Vasquez stood in the command center of Mars Defense Station, watching the holographic display that showed the vast network of human settlements scattered across the galaxy like glowing jewels. Elena had dedicated her life to protecting humanity's expansion into the cosmos. As the head of the Terran Defense Coalition, she commanded the largest military force in human history. Her dark eyes reflected the blue glow of the tactical displays as she reviewed the daily reports from the frontier colonies. At 42 years old, she had seen humanity grow from a single-planet species to a galactic civilization in just 2 generations. The morning briefing was proceeding normally when Lieutenant Johnson burst into the command center, his face pale with concern. "Commander Vasquez, we're receiving an emergency transmission from the outer perimeter sensors. Multiple contacts approaching the Sol system at impossible velocities." Elena's training kicked in immediately. She moved to the primary console and activated the long-range scanners. What she saw on the screen made her heart skip a beat. Hundreds of massive vessels were approaching Earth, their design unlike anything in human databases. The lead ships were enormous, each one larger than humanity's biggest space stations. "All stations, this is command," Elena announced over the communication system. "We have unknown vessels approaching Earth. Raise alert status to level 1 and activate all defensive protocols." The command center transformed into a hive of activity as officers rushed to their positions. Elena watched the alien fleet approach with a mixture of fascination and dread. In all of humanity's expansion across the galaxy, they had never encountered intelligent alien life. Now it seemed that was about to change in the most dramatic way possible. Dr. Marcus Chen, the Coalition's chief scientist, appeared on the main screen from his laboratory on Luna Station. His usually calm demeanor was replaced by excitement and concern. "Commander, the energy signatures from those ships are off the charts. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours." Before Elena could respond, every screen in the command center flickered and displayed the same image. A towering alien figure appeared, standing nearly 12 feet tall with 6 arms and skin that seemed to shift between different shades of purple and black. Multiple eyes glowed with an eerie yellow light across its elongated skull. When it spoke, its voice carried an otherworldly resonance that made the humans listening feel small and insignificant. "Primitive humans of the 3rd planet," the alien began, its voice filled with contempt. "I am Emperor Zexthul of the NIGMA Empire. Your pathetic species has spread across this galaxy like a disease, contaminating worlds that belong to superior beings." Elena stepped forward, addressing the alien directly. "This is Commander Elena Vasquez of the Terran Defense Coalition. We come in peace and seek diplomatic relations with your empire." Emperor Zexthul's multiple eyes focused on Elena, and something resembling amusement crossed its alien features. "Peace. Diplomacy. You misunderstand your situation, human. The NIGMA Empire has ruled this galaxy for over 10,000 of your years. We have conquered and absorbed 2,847 different species. Your turn has come." The Emperor gestured with one of its 6 arms, and the display showed images of destroyed worlds and enslaved alien populations. Some species submitted willingly and were granted the privilege of serving our empire. Others resisted and were eliminated. You humans have exactly 48 of your Earth hours to make your choice." Elena felt her jaw clench as she processed the alien's words. Throughout human history, their species had faced countless challenges and threats, but never had they encountered something like this. "What exactly are you demanding?" she asked, though she suspected she already knew the answer. "Complete and unconditional surrender," Zexthul replied without hesitation. "All human worlds, all human ships, all human lives now belong to the NIGMA Empire. You will cease your expansion, abandon your colonies, and report to designated processing centers where your species will be evaluated for usefulness. The transmission continued as the Emperor outlined the terms of surrender. Humanity would be stripped of all technology. Their strongest individuals would be taken as soldiers for the NIGMA army. Their scientists would work in alien laboratories, and the rest would serve as laborers on conquered worlds. And if we refuse? Elena asked, though she could see the answer in the Emperor's glowing eyes. Then your species joins the 743 others that chose extinction over submission, Zexthul answered coldly. Your worlds will be sterilized, your ships destroyed, and your history erased from the galaxy. The choice is yours, but remember that mercy is a luxury the NIGMA Empire rarely offers. The transmission ended, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Elena looked around at her officers, seeing fear in their faces, but also something else that made her proud to be human: defiance. These men and women had dedicated their lives to protecting humanity, and they weren't about to surrender without a fight. Get me a direct line to Earth Command, Elena ordered. Emergency priority. Within minutes, she was connected to President Maria Santos in Geneva, Prime Minister David Kim in New Seoul, and Premier Chen Lai in Neo-Beijing. The three leaders of Earth's united government appeared on the screen, their faces grim as they absorbed the situation. Commander Vasquez, we've received the same transmission, President Santos said. What's your assessment of their military capabilities? Elena pulled up the tactical analysis on her screen. Their ships are massive and appear to have technology far beyond ours. Conservative estimates suggest they could destroy our entire fleet within hours if it came to direct confrontation. So you're recommending surrender? Premier Chen Lai asked quietly. No, sir, Elena replied without hesitation. I'm recommending that we do what humans have always done when faced with impossible odds. We adapt, we innovate, and we fight. Prime Minister Kim nodded slowly. What do you need from us, Commander? I need every ship, every weapon, and every brilliant mind we have, Elena answered. If we're going to survive this, we need to think differently than any species the NIGMA Empire has encountered before. Over the next 6 hours, humanity mobilized like never before. Every colony received the warning, every ship was recalled to defensive positions, and every scientist began working on new technologies that might give them an edge. Dr. Chen's team on Luna Station started developing weapons based on theoretical physics, while engineers across the solar system worked to retrofit civilian ships with military capabilities. General Thomas Reed, humanity's most experienced space commander, arrived at Mars Station to coordinate the defense. His weathered face showed no fear as he reviewed the tactical situation. Elena, I've been fighting in space for 30 years, and I'd never seen odds like this. But I'd also never seen humanity back down from a challenge. Ambassador Kira Okafor made one final attempt at diplomatic contact with the NIGMA fleet, broadcasting messages in every mathematical and scientific language known to humanity. The response was silence, followed by a brief transmission showing the destruction of an uninhabited asteroid as a demonstration of their power. As the 48-hour deadline approached, Elena stood before the communication array that would broadcast humanity's response to Emperor Zexthul. She had spent hours crafting her words, knowing that they might be among the last official statements of the human race. Emperor Zexthul of the NIGMA Empire, she began, her voice steady and strong. You have offered humanity a choice between submission and extinction. We choose neither. Humanity has survived ice ages, world wars, plagues, and the harsh realities of space exploration. We have never surrendered to a superior force, and we will not start now. Elena paused, looking directly into the camera as if she could see the alien emperor himself. You claim to have conquered thousands of species, but you've never faced humans. You're about to learn why that makes all the difference. Our answer is no. Come and take what you think belongs to you. The transmission ended, and Elena turned to her officers. All stations, Prepare for battle. Today, we find out what humanity is truly capable of when our survival is at stake. As alarms sounded across human space and defensive fleets moved into position, the Lina couldn't help but feel a spark of pride. Humanity had always been at its best when faced with impossible challenges. The NIGMA Empire was about to discover that some species couldn't be conquered, no matter how advanced the conqueror believed themselves to be. The empire that underestimated humanity. The attack began exactly 48 hours after Emperor Zexthal's ultimatum expired. NIGMA warships emerged from hyperspace around 12 human colonies simultaneously, their massive forms blotting out the stars. The first wave of destruction was swift and merciless, as alien weapons reduced 3 frontier settlements to ash within minutes. Commander Elena Vasquez watched the reports flood into Mars Command, each one more devastating than the last. The colonies of New Geneva, Kepler Station, and Ross 128b were gone, their populations of nearly 2 million people erased from existence. The NIGMA ships moved with precision, destroying military installations while leaving infrastructure intact for their own future use. Commander, the aliens are following standard conquest protocols, reported Dr. Chen from his analysis station. They're eliminating resistance while preserving resources. It's exactly what they've done to hundreds of other species. Elena studied the tactical displays showing the alien fleet movements. Something was bothering her about their attack patterns, but she couldn't quite identify what it was. General Reed, what's your assessment of their strategy? The veteran commander pulled up a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy. They're being methodical, hitting our outer colonies first to drive survivors toward the core systems. Classic herding tactics. They want us frightened and desperate before they attack Earth. Then they don't understand humans very well, Elena replied grimly. She activated the communication system that connected her to every human ship and settlement in the galaxy. All human forces, this is Commander Vasquez. The enemy has revealed their strategy, and now we reveal ours. What followed was unlike anything the NIGMA Empire had encountered in their 10,000 years of conquest. Instead of fleeing toward Earth as expected, human survivors from the attacked colonies scattered in all directions. Some headed for asteroid fields where they could hide among the rocks. Others disappeared into nebula where sensors couldn't track them effectively. The first surprise came when NIGMA forces attempted to occupy the abandoned colony of Proxima Station. As their landing craft touched down, the entire installation exploded in a chain reaction that destroyed 6 alien ships. The humans had booby-trapped their own colonies, turning every abandoned building into a potential weapon. Emperor Zexthal appeared on screens across human space, his alien features twisted with anger. Cowardly humans, you destroy your own worlds rather than face us honorably. This changes nothing. We will hunt down every last member of your species. But Elena was counting on the Emperor's arrogance. While NIGMA forces spread across the galaxy hunting scattered human refugees, she was implementing a plan that relied on humanity's greatest strength, their ability to adapt and think creatively under pressure. Dr. Chen's team had been working around the clock to analyze the alien technology. "Commander, we've made a breakthrough," he reported excitedly. "The NIGMA ships use a quantum field generator for their shields and weapons. We can't match their power, but we might be able to disrupt their field harmonics." "What do you need?" Elena asked. "Every mining laser, every industrial cutter, and every salvage beam in human space," Chen replied. "If we can coordinate them to fire at the same frequency, we might be able to overload their systems." While Chen's team worked on their technological solution, General Reed was implementing a strategy that played to humanity's other advantage: their unpredictability. Human ships began attacking NIGMA forces using tactics no military academy would teach. Cargo vessels loaded with explosives rammed into alien cruisers. Mining ships used their industrial equipment as weapons. Even civilian shuttles became suicide bombers when piloted by volunteers who refused to let their species be enslaved. The turning point came during the Battle of the Titan Rings. A NIGMA fleet had cornered 300 human ships near Saturn, preparing to destroy them all. As the aliens moved in for the kill, they discovered that the humans had spent days positioning themselves throughout the ring system. When the attack came, human ships used Saturn's rings as cover, darting between ice chunks and debris to avoid alien weapons. Now, Elena commanded from her position aboard the flagship Determination. Every human ship in the system fired their modified weapons simultaneously. Mining lasers, construction beams, and salvage cutters all targeted the lead NIGMA vessel at precisely the same frequency Dr. Chen had calculated. The alien ship's shields fluctuated, then collapsed entirely. What happened next would be remembered as one of the greatest moments in human history. The massive NIGMA dreadnought, previously thought invincible, cracked like an egg under the combined assault of human industrial equipment, turned into weapons. Atmosphere vented into space as the alien crew struggled to maintain control of their damaged vessel. Emperor Zexthul himself was aboard that ship. As hull breaches spread throughout the dreadnought, the alien emperor found himself face to face with Commander Elena Vasquez as human boarding parties fought their way to the bridge. "Impossible," Zexthul snarled, his multiple eyes wide with disbelief. "Our technology is superior. Our weapons are more advanced. How have you primitive creatures defeated us?" Elena stepped forward, her weapon trained on the alien emperor. "Because you made the same mistake every bully makes. You thought strength was just about bigger guns and faster ships. You never understood that real strength comes from the willingness to sacrifice everything for what you believe in." The emperor looked around at his crew, many of whom were dead or dying from the human assault. "We conquered 2,847 species. We ruled this galaxy for 10 millennia. And in all that time, you never learned the most important lesson." Elena replied, "Technology can be copied, weapons can be built, but courage, determination, and the refusal to surrender can't be conquered." As NIGMA forces throughout the galaxy learned of their emperor's capture, something unprecedented happened. The alien empire, which had seemed so united and powerful, began to fragment. Species that had been enslaved for generations rose up in rebellion. Ships that had served the NIGMA for centuries switched sides or fled to distant parts of the galaxy. Ambassador Kira Okafor, who had been working with representatives from dozens of alien species, coordinated the uprising that followed. Commander Vasquez, she reported from her diplomatic vessel, "We're receiving surrender offers from NIGMA commanders across 17 sectors. Their empire is collapsing." The final battle took place in the Vega system, where the remnants of the NIGMA fleet made their last stand. But they faced not just human ships, but vessels from every species the Empire had ever oppressed. The battle was fierce but brief, as alien races that had been enemies for millennia united against their former oppressors. Emperor Zexthul, held in custody aboard Elena's flagship, watched his empire crumble on the command screens. "This is impossible," he repeated, his voice hollow with defeat. "We were superior in every way." "No," Elena corrected him. "You were more advanced. There's a difference. Advancement is about technology and weapons. Superiority is about character, and your empire never had that." In the aftermath of the NIGMA Empire's collapse, humanity found itself in a galaxy forever changed. Species that had been enslaved for generations were free to rebuild their civilizations. Trade routes that had been controlled by the Empire opened up to peaceful commerce. And at the center of it all, humans served not as conquerors, but as mediators and protectors. Dr. Chen's technological innovations, born from desperation, revolutionized space travel and communication. General Reed's tactical innovations became standard doctrine for defensive warfare. Ambassador Okafor's diplomatic work established the Galactic Council, a democratic organization that ensured no single species could dominate others. Elena stood once again in the command center of Mars Station, But now the displays showed not defensive positions but trade routes, diplomatic missions, and exploration vessels. Humanity had not only survived their greatest challenge, but had emerged as leaders in a new galactic civilization. The NIGMA Empire's greatest mistake had been underestimating what humans could accomplish when their survival was at stake. They had seen humanity's technological limitations and assumed that made them weak. They had observed human conflicts and assumed that made them divided. They had watched human expansion and assumed that made them vulnerable. What they failed to understand was that every challenge in human history had made the species stronger. Every conflict had taught them new ways to solve problems. Every limitation had forced them to become more creative. When faced with extinction, humanity had done what they always did. They adapted, they innovated, and they refused to give up. The galaxy learned an important lesson from the fall of the NIGMA Empire. Power based on fear and superior technology alone cannot last forever. But strength built on courage, determination, and the willingness to sacrifice for others creates something that cannot be conquered. And in the depths of space, where the ruins of NIGMA warships still drift among the stars, the message is clear for any species that might consider threatening humanity. We are not just survivors. We are the species that turned our greatest weakness into our most powerful weapon. We are human, and that makes all the difference.